Does your cat actually understand what you're saying? Not the tone, not the pitch of your voice, the actual words. For years, we've been told that cats are basically deaf to language, that they respond to sound, not meaning, that when your cat comes running, it's because of how you said something, not what you said. Scientists have now tested this idea in controlled experiments, and the results surprised even the researchers. It wasn't just that cats reacted to certain sounds, it was which sounds they remembered, how precisely they told them apart, and what that says about the relationship happening underneath. By the end of this video, you'll know the 5 words most cats genuinely understand. One of them might completely change the way you look at your cat. Let's start with the one word every cat has heard more than any other. Its own name. You've seen it before. You call your cat. It looks at you, blinks, and goes right back to ignoring you. It's easy to assume this means confusion, that your cat has no idea you're even talking to it. But that's not what the research shows. A study out of Japan, led by researchers at Sophia University, tested whether cats could tell the difference between their own name and other words that sounded similar in length and rhythm. The cats were played a series of unfamiliar nouns, followed by their own name. The result was measurable. When cats heard their name, their ears moved, their heads turned, their pupils shifted. Small, physical reactions, but consistent enough to prove something important. Cats can distinguish their name from random noise, even when a stranger says it, even when there's no reward attached. Here's the part that surprises most people. Recognizing a word and choosing to respond to it are 2 completely different things. Your cat isn't confused when it ignores you. It's making a decision. What looks like stubbornness might actually be understanding. But if your cat can recognize its own name without any reward attached, and imagine what happens when a word is tied to something it truly wants. And the next word surprised researchers even more, because it turns out the reaction starts long before you'd expect. Food. Whether it's dinner, treat, or a specific brand name you say every single day, this is often the word cats lock onto fastest. But here's the part most people get wrong. They assume the reaction starts when the food appears. It doesn't. This is classical conditioning at work. The same principle behind Pavlov's famous experiments with dogs. Except in this case, the sound doesn't just come before the reward. It becomes part of the reward. In fact, by the time you reach the cupboard, your cat's brain's already predicting the outcome. To your cat, the word itself becomes part of the meal. Every time you say food, right before opening a can or shaking a bag, that connection gets reinforced. Say it consistently, and the response sharpens. Change the word constantly, and the link weakens. It's not that your cat understands the concept of food the way you do. It understands that the specific sound reliably predicts something real. And that's not a small thing. That's a prediction system, built entirely out of trust in your patterns. Food gets almost every cat moving. But there's another word that works in the opposite direction, and most people misunderstand it completely. No. Most people think saying no teaches a cat what it did wrong. It doesn't. Cats don't have a concept of right and wrong the way humans do. What they understand instead is consequence. And it's a much narrower thing than we assume. When you say no, in a firm, consistent tone, right as your cat is about to jump in the counter, it starts to associate that specific sound with an interruption. Not guilt, not morality, just a clear signal that this action leads to a reaction from you. Timing is everything here. Say it's seconds too late, and the connection breaks down completely. Because cats live almost entirely in the moment. The association only forms when the word lines up with the action itself, almost to the second. This is also why yelling often backfires. A loud, emotional reaction can startle a cat rather than teach it anything. A calm, consistent tone paired with precise timing works far better because it isolates the sound as the meaningful signal, not your emotional state. So no doesn't teach right from wrong. It teaches a boundary. And once a boundary is understood, something interesting happens. Trust starts to build around it, which leads into a word that reveals just how much that trust actually matters. Come. Not every cat comes when called. Let's be honest about that. But here's the fourth word, and it changes everything about how we think about feline obedience. Researchers studying cat-owner relationships have found that cats can distinguish their owner's voice from a stranger's voice with real accuracy, even when the words are identical. That means your come doesn't sound the same to your cat as anyone else's come. It carries your specific vocal signature layered with years of context. This is where it gets interesting. Cats that are called and then rewarded with food, affection, or play build a much stronger response over time than cats simply expected to obey. But even cats that never come when called can still understand the word perfectly. Your cat understands. It just doesn't always agree. Whether or not your cat comes when called depends less on intelligence and more on trust. A cat that associates come with something positive is far more likely to respond. A cat that associates it with the vet carrier is far more likely to vanish under the bed. Understanding a word and choosing to act on it are two separate systems entirely, which brings us to the final word. The one most owners underestimate completely, even though it might be the most important one of all. Love. Or whatever phrase you use most often to express affection. Cats don't understand love the way humans conceptualize it. There's no abstract emotional framework in their brain built around the word itself. But here's what actually happens. Every time you say a specific phrase, I love you, good girl, who's my baby, while petting your cat, feeding it, or holding it close, you're pairing that sound with physical warmth, safety, and comfort. Over months and years, that phrase becomes deeply conditioned, not as a definition, but as a feeling. Researchers believe this kind of repeated, affectionate interaction likely engaged the same bonding-related processes involved in positive social connection. This is why cats often respond to a familiar, affectionate phrase with purring, slow blinking, or leaning into you, even before you've touched them. The sound alone has become a predictor of safety and connection. It may never understand the dictionary definition of love, but it absolutely understands what love feels like. So here's the real question. If cats don't process language the way we do, what exactly is happening every time they respond to us? The truth is, cats aren't learning English. They're learning you. Every word in this list, your cat's name, food, no, come, and whatever version of I love you use, works because of repetition, timing, tone, and emotional association built over countless small moments. That's not a lesser form of communication. That's where almost everyone gets cats wrong. It might actually be a deeper one, because when your cat looks up the instant you say its name, or comes running when it hears the sound of dinner, or curls into your lap the moment you whisper something affectionate, that's not just conditioning, it's memory, it's trust. It's years of shared experience compressed into a single familiar sound. Your cat isn't listening for English. It's listening for your history together. Every familiar word is really a memory, wearing the shape of a sound.